Okay, the recording has started, and this is the July 16th, 2019 Rook Community Meeting. As usual, we will go ahead and get started with a milestone checkup. So we did a 1.0.4 patch release at the end of last week. And so I don't anticipate that there are issues here that we are getting ready to do another patch release for. Travis, is there anything to update us on with other potential 1.0 patches?
Now, I'm hoping at this point we'll be done with the patch releases and focus on 1.1. The high CPU usage, I honestly haven't heard of that, more instances of that recently. The RBD volume issue still needs investigation, I'd say.
But nothing really like
but
actionable
no progress.
Like go ahead and make a release cut or anything like that.
Right. So I don't have anything else on 1.0
Got it.
planned.
Yeah, that was nice to get the 1.0.4 out to address some of those lingering quality or reliability issues, and drive up the quality of 1.0.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yep, it's great having others with merge access too, so they can do things while I'm out of office.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Thanks, Seb, especially for those 1.0.3 and 4 fixes.
Yep. Les Seb.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, it's good. It's definitely good to have that velocity and be able to be effective at getting fixes and new code out to the community. That's great stuff. So Travis, I know that you had a 1.1 roadmap update and timeline proposal. Do you want to focus on any of the 1.1 stuff with that, or do you think it's worth looking at the milestone and project board right now? Probably not.
Well, so I took a quick pass through the 1.1 board and just tried to make sure what was in there was somewhat accurate, or that the tickets that are in progress, I tried to make sure they're in progress or in the review column. So I did some basic things with that, but it needs more review and really to see if what we expect to be in the release is matching it. I think we're really 4 to 6 weeks away from wanting to get to a feature freeze. In my mind, that's the timeline. So the PR I opened around the features in the release for the roadmap, I did move some things out of 1.1, which seemed like, hey, if there's no owner at this point, I think we're getting close enough that to push the non-owned items out.
Right.
And I still need
talk about that proposal now. Then, like that seems very on topic. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's just do that.
Since I already jumped there. So I need definitely more input from all the storage providers on, like what EdgeFS is planning. I know they're actively working on things. Cassandra, is Yanis in the call? I haven't seen input from him recently. Anyway, so the 1.1 release is the feature list seems primarily Ceph and EdgeFS at this point. We need other storage providers involvement here too to make progress there.
Yeah, and also like incorporating the newer operators that we have as well. There's a number of those operators that are being worked on that would be included in 1.1, right? Like Nuba and I'm blanking right now.
Yeah, the Apache Ozone.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, the Nuba may take a bit longer, or post 1.1, for example. Not sure yet. And then Ozone, well, the design doc, last I looked, it's still pending response on some questions there.
Were you saying that the Nuba operator, like for its initial implementation or support, would be post 1.1? Because there's already PR that we've iterated over a little bit. Is that expected to continue lingering without merging?
Yeah, so I guess I'm not sure yet if it would be ready in time, just with lots going on. They may, yeah, that PR kind of stalled, and I just pinged them yesterday to figure out what's going on, and they've just got lots of other things going on, and it may not
Oh, okay.
make the 1.1.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully that'd be nice because there was a great start with that, and it was basically a full implementation that we started iterating on with feedback and getting the right patterns in place and some consistency across the code base and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully we'll be able to drive that in for 1.1. I would love to see that in this milestone, especially since a significant effort has already gone into it. It'd be nice to finish that off.
Yeah, I definitely would love to see it too.
All right. So in terms of the timeline, will that conversation be facilitated by bringing up the roadmap update here, or is that not part of that?
Yeah, it's related. I mean, I don't think they're necessarily closely tied.
Okay.
But as far as the timeline proposal, the thought in my mind at least is, and talk to some people in the Ceph huddle about it for early feedback. So if we want to do a feature freeze like a couple of weeks beforehand, before we actually release, so we can say, hey, let's be careful about what or lock down on features we're adding after a certain date, and then just fix bugs for the last couple of weeks to make sure we're focusing on quality. The date I'd like to propose tentatively is like August 23rd, kind of towards the end of August for feature freeze, and then early September, like I kind of picked the 10th of November or September out of a hat, which would be 2.5 weeks after feature freeze.
So the overall timeline, I think, makes so the last release was around the early May or end of April, before KubeCon and to get 1.0 out. And so, attempting to get on the cadence of quarterly releases, May, June, July, that's like pretty much right on in line with that release frequency or cadence. So I support that, and that sounds pretty reasonable. And then this idea here, which we haven't really done before, of having a feature freeze and then kind of stabilizing and driving towards the release process without a lot of churn near the end, I think makes a lot of sense too, in terms of being able to improve or elevate the quality of the release and our ability to converge and get out something that's stable and usable. That I think that makes sense. How that works across multiple storage providers, like we would need we would need to evangelize and socialize that well and make sure that there's good buy-in from that and it's communicated clearly as well, because we don't want to have any surprises about, oh yeah, we're had a feature freeze now, and you had a storage provider A, you had a big feature that you wanted to get in, so sorry, we don't want to necessarily do that. So having good communication here and making sure that there's buy-in, it will be very important. But the general idea of basically the goal of this here of your proposal is to have convergence and drive towards stability and minimize churn for the release. And that's all pretty sane. So I agree with that.
Yeah, and part of what I want to do with updating the roadmap is, hey, let's get in the roadmap, what we plan, and here's the timeline, so we have something to shoot for, and so it's clear for everyone involved in that roadmap. So yeah, definitely I'll reach out to others, EdgeFS and Cassandra. Just haven't heard yet on the roadmap from them and others. So
have you tagged or mentioned like Dimitri and Giannis, etc., in the roadmap PR?
And I did it in Slack. I didn't really tag anyone in the PR yet, so maybe I should just do that. Yeah. And by the way, thanks to Blaine for pushing for the feature freeze approach. Any other comments on that, Blaine, that you'd like to add? Put you on the spot here.
Was I on mute?
Now you're good.
Okay. Yeah, I think that all sounds good. We'll see how it goes, and if we need to adjust, then we can next release. It does seem like with the addition of new backends, I think it might be worth revisiting thoughts about being able to release the backends independently, especially coordinating as backend X or Y or Z. Do I feel like I am at a feature stable place where I can release? It's going to get harder as we have more and more backends, and I'm a little concerned that we might have some that are okay, I'm ready to release, and they're still 2 weeks away, but I'm kind of stuck in this kind of code freeze place, or some other release kind of pushing back the release date from others, and I don't want to see that kind of become a normal part of reality.
Yeah, I hear you on that, Blaine. I agree with that.
Yep.
But yeah, the logistics of how to handle that, I don't have a whole lot of ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's, I guess we'll work through it as it comes, and the way we approach this, keeping them all in sync. I mean, it's simpler from a release perspective, but the realities of having the different storage providers needing or requiring different release schedules too, it seems like it could be, anyway, a longer term thing to figure out.
Yeah, I kind of have in my head that it would be nice to get 1.2 out, and then for 1.3 figure out if we can do that.
You mean 1.1 then 1.2, or
yeah,
even longer than that?
Yeah, to get 1.1 and 1.2 out the door, and then to try to plan by 1.3, we have mechanism in place for the backends releasing independently then.
Yeah, we'd probably want it to be something that we plan, not as part of a release window. When we're doing a 1.x release, we probably don't want to be planning it, during that time. We probably want to have a plan set up, and then from the beginning of a release, entire window of release, a life cycle of a release, have that implemented from the beginning.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So good discussion here, guys. Appreciate it. Oh gosh, Zoom just totally changed all the windows on me. The thing snapped all over the place, and I can't touch my menu bar anymore. Why, Zoom? Why? Shoot. Okay, recovered. Now we're back. All right. We did it again. Zoom user experience continues to surprise me, I would say. So it's got that going for it.
Should try Blue Jeans, right?
Yes, I should. So the next topic that I had on here was just a quick note that, last Friday, so 4 days ago or so, was the call for proposals for KubeCon San Diego. KubeCon North America here has closed. And so hopefully everyone got some submissions in that you are excited about, and hopefully you will get some talks accepted, and that'll be cool. Did anybody submit any talks that they're particularly excited about?
Definitely. I know there were a few from Red Hat side around Rook. There's a bucket provisioning with Jeff. There's Seb's talk, around general Rook and Ceph usage. There's more details there, Seb. I'm sure I'm forgetting.
What happened with the ARM hardware in Barcelona? I remember that blowing up or something before Sebastian's talk. Did that get resolved?
not during the talk, but I think there is a challenge, with the hardware, and nobody was online to kick it since the hardware was back in Boston. And,
that's a bummer.
Whatever.
Yeah, that was a
Something
difficult
like that.
coordination of time zones, like working with North America folks on like demos and things while we're in Barcelona European time zones. But we persevered.
Apparently, it's hard to take hardware through customs, so they couldn't take it.
Cool. Well, best of luck for everybody on the KubeCon CFP.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you will get we'll get a lot of talks accepted, and we'll get some good Rook exposure and all that sort of stuff. We have
Any other talks besides those I mentioned?
I said I wish that I was able to submit more than 2. That's the maximum. So I submitted 2 talks as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I
think to the Rook or other topics.
They both incorporate some Rook action in there as well, for sure.
Yeah.
I think I have a feeling like the program selection committee is getting tired of seeing my talks, though, because I didn't get any accepted for Shanghai, so I'm not as optimistic as about San Diego as I have been in the past.
All right.
But hopefully we'll get some new talks accepted, get some new faces in there. I had one more point to make. What was it? I guess I forgot it, though. That's too bad.
Oh, and we'll still have the deep dive and intro Rook sessions.
That's what I was going to say.
That is, okay.
You nailed it. Thank you, Travis.
The submissions for that are not open yet, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Nancy Lancaster confirmed that the maintainer track sections like Rook Intro and Rook Deep Dive has not opened yet. It has a independent deadline from the regular KubeCon CFP. So when Nancy sends information out about that, I'll be sure to share that, and we will hopefully get both an intro and a deep dive. In Shanghai this year, they had to cut it down to just a single one. They did not have space at the event for every project to get both intro and deep dive. But hopefully here at the San Diego Convention Center, the home of Comic-Con, we will have enough room there, and there will be intros and deep dives for everybody, all the CNCF projects. And we're definitely looking to the community too for any ideas about talks you'd want to give there, or maybe potentially new speakers that want to co-present or have a hand in presenting or speaking at those events. So let us know if you have any interest in participating in the intro or the deep dive, because we've all gotten a lot of turns on presenting at those, and having fresh faces and more community involvement in those can get interesting. And it might need to be a co-speaking thing, because I think part of the requirement is that that it's a maintainer track, so you have to have some maintainer involvement. But we'll look into that. But definitely more involvement is from the community is something that I'd be happy to have. Okay, next topic here. The Christian and some of his co-workers were having issues with unmounting volumes with the flex volume. So I wanted to just bring that up here and see if anybody. So what is this? Nicholas Voss here. That's one of Christian's co-workers. He's got a reproducible scenario where trying to unmount a volume that I think it's being used for Prometheus or Alert Manager is not unmounting, and it's failing there. So he's got a ton of information that he just shared that I haven't gotten a chance to look at yet this morning, since we're just getting started here on the West Coast. But any other eyes on that Alexander had previously been looking into it, and I started looking into it just yesterday. But it looks like it's a reproducible scenario that with a ton of information from logs and output from CRDs and stuff there. So hopefully we'll have enough information to get a little bit of insight into this. And this is in their production environment as well. So it would be good to be able to provide the support or workaround or something for these guys.
Is there a GitHub issue on that yet?
I don't think. I've only seen it in Slack so far, so I don't think that there is a GitHub issue opened yet. But I think that we're at that point where we've got some quality, troubleshooting information collected now. that we should be able to describe the scenario, describe the repro setup, and add the troubleshooting information to get it tracked in GitHub. I think that we're at that point. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah, and then we can follow up on it there. Are there any other community topics before we move on to pull requests?
A comment from Vishal.
Yeah, I just added that there. I wasn't sure if that is the right place to discuss this, or is there a different section?
Oh yeah, this is a good section here for the community topics here. Vishal, did you want to speak about that now, or did you just want to kind of like figure out logistics, like being able to talk some more about how, like, what the process is for adding a new Rook operator, or some of the foundational information that's needed? What do you want to? What audience do you want to talk about that with?
Nothing much specifically, because I had a chat with Karthik, and Karthik had a chat with Jared, I guess, on email. And the operator looks pretty similar to CockroachDB operator, and we heard a bunch of other operators, so kind of the pattern is familiar. Just wanted to make it part of like next release, kind of align with that timeline, but nothing specifically, anything else apart from that.
Got it. So the normal process there for adding new operators to Rook would be to start with a one, like, we could talk about it in the community meeting here, of course, but start with a little one pager. So open an issue in the Rook repo GitHub, and to create a little one pager write up that kind of explains what Yugabyte is, like, as a storage operator, sort of some of the background information there, and then a little bit about the proposal of how the operator integration would proceed, or what are some of the steps or maybe phases of it, to kind of get an understanding as a community, and then be best prepared to be able to support that effort as well. So if you want to, open an issue and get kind of like a one pager effort started, I'd be happy to, we'd all be happy to help support you in that, and to shepherd that through the process as well, and provide any background information and understanding that you need in order to understand like how that implementation would work, or what all that information and background knowledge is. We're happy to help out with that.
Sure. So I'll get that done tomorrow, like day after tomorrow, and then we can take it forward on GitHub from there. Yeah,
and do you want to right now, like in just a couple of minutes here, Vishal, do you want to just kind of tell everybody on the call here what Yugabyte is, or what kind of storage it is, and go just a little background on Yugabyte?
Sure. So Yugabyte is basically a database which replicates across regions and across AZs within the region, highly available, and it gives you like a Postgres-like interface as well, and there is a Cassandra-like interface as well. But under the hood, it is RocksDB as one of the engines, and then builds a very scalable and tolerant database system on top of RocksDB.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that it had I knew it had a Postgres interface. I didn't know it had a Cassandra-like interface as well. That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if like there's more expected in terms of what you want to understand about Yugabyte, or is like 1 or 2 liners was enough, or?
Yeah, I think that, that's a great introduction to, what type of storage it is. Like what are some of the main usage cases, or like main customers, or like, does it have like a particular like type of application that consumes the Yugabyte storage most?
Sure. So one of the other features is like, it's geo-distributed, but also sharded at the same time. So you could technically have users spread across multiple geographies, while their local data is sharded to like a local replica, and then asynchronously replicated to other places, so to speak. The kind of users that we have seen, I would say, are varied, but I would say a pretty close comparison would be something like Google Spanner, but out in the open source in a way.
Oh, cool. So a big part of the Yugabyte value proposition is like the multi-region, multi-site, geographic distribution.
Right.
Very cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Are there any? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that Karthik is like the Yugabyte guy, if like really more information, but I'm presenting him, from the operator side of things. So I definitely there are areas for myself which are gray in Yugabyte, but yeah.
Cool. And yeah, and if there are any other questions here from the community, we can ask those now, or we can continue the conversation on the GitHub issue and little one-pager write-up about Yugabyte and Rook operator integration. Be happy to keep on that there.
Yep, and I just put a link to the design docs in the chat there. Just you can look at other design docs that have been created. For example, design docs for the Nuba operator were just merged recently. So that's an example. There's a PR open right now for the Apache Ozone, just if you want to refer to what previous work is related.
Sure. That's definitely going to be helpful. Yeah, thanks for that.
Awesome. Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to seeing the potential integration and operator for Yugabyte and Rook. That'd be a great addition to the Rook community. Travis, did you want to talk more about this particular roadmap PR now, or?
I think we pretty much covered it. Just that my action item is to follow up and get other input on it with other storage providers.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. We already talked about the potential timeline. Okay. Sounds good. So more Travis. Minimum Ceph version is 13.2.4.
I just wanted to make sure it's clear to people that in the 1.1 release, removing support for Luminous, and the main motivation here for the 13.2.4 minimum version specifically is it means all BlueStore OSDs going forward will be created with Ceph volume, and no more of our own partitioning scheme to be created for OSDs. And yeah, that's pretty much it, just to make sure people are aware. So before you update to 1.1, you would have to update your version of Ceph to Mimic or Nautilus, and then upgrade to 1.1. Sorry, upgrade will be clear about that, but what's that?
Is that something that, because that's, I'm trying to figure out like if there's an automated story there for the upgrade. Like if you upgraded the Rook operator, the Rook Ceph operator to 1.1, and it sees that you don't meet the minimum Ceph version, would it be able to, help it like to enforce that of, oh, you need to update this before I continue to update any of the other Ceph components like the monitors or managers and stuff?
Yeah, so with this PR, if your version of Ceph that's in the CR is not met, if the minimum version is not met, the operator will not continue. It'll fail the orchestration, and you would have to update the CR at that point to get it to continue past that. So you could still change the Ceph version after the fact and get it going again, but it will be blocked if you don't meet the minimum version.
Yeah, got it.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds reasonable. Is so Luminous is no longer supported. What's the current LTS for Ceph?
The LTS has been Luminous and then skipped Mimic, and now it's Nautilus. So, most people hopefully are moving to Nautilus anyway instead of Mimic. But
yeah, I think also some context that might be relevant there is Ceph used to TikTok its releases, but it is now with Octopus, like every release is effectively an LTS release, and I think it's on a yearly cadence, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Cool. And then, so in terms of the themes of all the Ceph, named releases, Octopus obviously makes a ton of sense for all those themes, but it's also almost a little bit disappointing. Like it's too plain. Yeah, Octopus it's a cephalopod, sure, but
the obvious one.
Just Octopus, that's boring.
It was the freebie.
Yeah, exactly. That's the gimme right there, huh?
Yeah. should have involved you in finding another cephalopod, huh, Jared?
Nope, they didn't ask me.
Didn't ask me either.
Really? Goodness. Not everybody asks you everything, Travis.
Yep.
All
yeah,
right.
Jared. Yep. I thought you'd be interested in this PR because I'm deleting a whole bunch of your code.
Yeah, it seems like a couple of these, like around like removing the partitioning scheme for OSDs, removing the CRD conversion schemes. Like any other of my code you want to get rid of, Travis?
Trying to purge it all. Yeah, this one. Hoping we don't need this in the future because this CRD versioning story is better since was that Kubernetes 1.11, I believe, maybe 1.12. But we're planning to stick with V1 for a while anyway. I hope we don't need V2 for a long time at least.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Do you have a good understanding of the supported CRD migration story right now? Like what actually works at the API server level?
A few months ago, I looked at it, a little fuzzy on the details, but there is a way to declare the supported versions and migrate them. Unfortunately, I don't remember the details right now, but based on that investigation, it seemed clear that we didn't need our own conversion code for all of this.
Yeah, this is definitely very unfortunate that we needed to write this ourselves and our operators as opposed to the API server being able to support this for us. This was definitely CRDs lacking that functionality was a pretty big blocker for adoption like across versions. It was a big gaping hole in CRDs for a while. So it's really nice that they're able to fix that or address that in newer versions.
Yep.
Cool. So I'll see after you get all these pull requests merged, we'll see how many lines of code I have left in the code base. And wiping out all of it. Jeez.
You got to start writing more code.
Exactly. Okay, so that was all we had on the agenda, the pull request section and the last section there. Were there any other topics that did not make it to the agenda document that anybody wanted to bring up in this forum right now? Okay, then if there are no more topics, then we can go ahead and adjourn for the week.
Okay.
Alrighty, thank you everybody for joining, and we will see you all in 2 weeks.
Thanks everyone.
Bye everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.